Hello, everybody, and I hope everybody, for at least those of you in the States, had a good holiday weekend. Can't believe it's been a whole week since then. Um, and into July, and again, I don't know where it goes. It goes as fast as you think it is. The time is going. Trust me, it goes faster the older you get. But that's a totally different topic than what I want to talk about today. Um, I'm sure that your brain has lied to you before, and you're sitting there saying, "What in the world is she talking about?" So let me give you an experience of something that happened to me last week so I can explain to you what I mean by this. And I suspect that once I start talking, some of you are going to recognize what I'm talking about. This is based of what happened last week because it was in the United States anyway. 4th of July, which was a national holiday, came on Thursday. Many people decided to take off Friday so they could have a long weekend. I had an appointment scheduled on Friday. That was no big deal. It was normal and everything. And that was a normal appointment for me. They finally decided they wanted the long week on, so they asked if I could come on Wednesday, which I did. So we rescheduled. I had my appointment on Wednesday, had the holiday on Friday. Well, excuse me, had the holiday on Thursday. The holiday was a little strange. I know it was a holiday, but it was kind of like things were off because it was a holiday. It's like Thursday. This isn't, what's supposed to happen. When you get holidays in the middle of the week, it's odd kind of thing. You're used to something like on Monday or Friday, and it's in the middle of the week. Anyway, Friday when I got up, I started to tell myself, something's wrong. You're late. You missed something. What did you forget? I kept having these messages go through my head. The most recurring message was, you're late. You're not being on time. You're not getting there on time. And I'm having to sit there. And I was initially going through my morning routine, kind of feeling a little rushed because for some reason I was like thinking I had to go someplace until it finally dawned on me, wait a minute. I had the appointment on Wednesday. I have no place really to go specifically. I mean, there were things I needed to do on Friday. One of the which was grocery shopping. But grocery shopping, under most circumstances, it doesn't matter whether you're going 2:30 in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, the store might be busier at one time than the other, but it's not like you've got time a clock or something to get into the store. It's not like that. So it really didn't matter as long as I ended up there. But I kept telling myself that I was late, and I was giving myself a hard time, literally feeling pressured by my own head by telling myself that you're late, you need to be moving, we've got to go someplace. And yet when I sat there and said, wait a minute, there's no place I have to be. It's over. I've had my appointment already. This would calm me down for a few minutes. And then a little while later, I'd start feeling pressured again. It wasn't until later that afternoon when things started to get back to quote normal, unquote, of my normal evening routine that suddenly all of that pressure, all that feeling that I was being late just disappeared, just simply vanished. It stopped being there. Has anybody ever been in that situation before? When you're feeling like you're going to be late or something and you stop to think about it and it's like, I don't have any place to be. How can I go be late? But this is what I mean when I say your brain is lying to you. Now, our brains have been evolved over the course of the centuries to keep us safe. They look for things that are going to keep us out of trouble. So if you've ever had that sense of, like something's coming out of the corner of your eye, something, and you just dodge something, the phrase dodge a bullet, not that you're well, some of you may be dodging bullets, but when something's coming at and you just dodge because you suddenly be aware that you're going to get hit. Okay, your brain is aware of those things. In many cases, you may move and there's nothing there. You look around and it's like, what am I moving for? But your brain is somehow picking up some kind of a sense of something dangerous, or not necessarily that it's going to be mortal exactly, but that something's happening that's not supposed to be happening and you need to take a look at it. In many cases, most of these things are innocuous and don't really matter at all. But since it's something out of what the brain normally considers safe, it's sending you messages that something's unsafe and you have to be careful. Under normal circumstances, this is beneficial. As I mentioned a little while ago, it's when you sort of like suddenly move and you say, why did I move? And then you realize that you just stayed out of the line of fire of a child's toy or, something like that happened. So how many times have you done something and it's like you just move for some reason and you had this feeling and it turned out to be the right thing. Your brain is picking up those side movements, so to speak, and giving you instructions about what to do. It hears strange sounds and it thinks that it still doesn't quite know the difference between a baby crying or a child making dinosaur sounds or a saber-toothed tiger. The brain just recognizes those sounds and it just makes you react to things again to try and keep you safe and healthy. Okay. But the problem, like in my case, it sometimes goes overboard because it can't make those fine distinctions when we change things, change our schedules, and things don't work out that way. So that how many times have you had something that told you, oh, this is bad, this is good, you should be sad, you should be angry, you should be something, and you're looking at it and saying, why? And you can't quite place the feeling, or you begin to feel angry about something and you may react as if you're angry or sad, as the case may be. You might want to stop and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Do I have any valid reason for doing it? Say you're going to, and sometimes this will come up if you're trying something new. Let's just take a relatively simple example of maybe you're going into a new restaurant or a new place of something that you've never been before. And you may feel a bit of fear or anxiety of some sort, and ask yourself, is there a really reason for me to feel this way? Do I need to feel as if I'm going to be attacked? Do I need to feel that this is going to be strange? And do I really need to feel like I'm going to get ptomaine poisoning or something? 9 times out of 10, the answers are going to be no. In many cases, it's just because it's new and it's different, and your brain doesn't recognize it as being normal, whatever that means for you anyway. And when I say that, because if you're again going to the idea of going into a restaurant, you could have 20 people that are going into that restaurant. That restaurant for them may be normal. It's not normal for you. The restaurant in itself is perfectly fine, but if it's strange and different for you, your brain is going to perceive that as something that's scary or you need to be anxious about it. So when you're feeling that way, ask and say, okay, there's 20 people. I'm just seeing, a bunch of people go into the restaurant. They look like they're happy. They look like they're going to enjoy themselves. You might have overheard somebody say, I can't wait. This is going to be good. I'm looking forward to this. And so you ask yourself, okay, so why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling scared? And you may have to recognize the fact that your brain may just be sending you those messages because it's new and different. Doesn't mean you really are scared. Doesn't mean you have anything to fear. It's just your brain sending you a message. And so I wanted to mention this and give you my example to show you, because I dare say that many of you have had that kind of experience before. Suddenly you felt upset or, teary maybe, or sad or whatever, and you can't figure out why. And there may be no reason for it other than your brain is picking up some kind of message from something that you don't even know why. It's picking up something. And it seems to think that, oh, she should be sad or he should be upset or some such thing like that. And that may not be true. So again, start thinking in terms of, okay, what do I feel? How do I feel? Why am I feeling this? Is this coming up from a particular thing, a particular person, something I'm afraid of? Do I have a real fear for this? Do I need to be afraid? And in many cases, you may have to just basically say, there's nothing to be afraid of, and I'm just going to go through this anyway. Now, like the example I gave you, even though I kept telling my brain, I'm not late, I don't have any place to be, I'm doing fine with my schedule, I'm going to get everything done, there's no big deal here, and it still wouldn't believe me. But we got to the point, as I said, later on in the afternoon, when my no schedule got to be normal, at least for me anyway, that suddenly all of that anxiety disappeared, just no longer there. So that if you get through those particular moments, you're going to be fine, and you're going to sit there and say, what was that all about? But you're just, again, your brain is lying to you. Mine lies to me, and I know what's going on. I knew what was happening. I knew what was happening. And yet my brain kept giving me those messages. I found it actually kind of interesting from an academic sense, because I was watching, how I say this, I was watching myself kind of think about this through, thinking about all of this through and saying, this is strange because I knew what was happening. I knew there was no problem, and yet my brain was still giving me that message. So it's something that your brain's going to do, and your brain's going to do it. So don't feel bad about it. And it's just that's the way their brain works. And just be willing to accept it and acknowledge it and move on and not let it bring you to a screeching halt. Okay? Now, I'd like to know if anybody's ever had that experience before. Did I just explain something that you wondered about that you sort of like said, why did this happen? I really would appreciate it. Or if you know somebody keeps having these feelings and you tell them that there's no reason, let them know that it's just their brain and it doesn't have anything to do with what's really going on. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you enjoy whichever season you're going into, and we will chat with you later. Bye.